don't think you can swim over here?
One of the deadliest natural disasters in U.S. history leaves a family clinging for survival.
Hey!
St. Bernard Parish, Louisiana, is known for fresh seafood and tasty Cajun cooking. But when Hurricane Katrina comes bearing down, it's more than the Vaccarella family ever expected.
We just figured it was just another storm that was going to come through, pass by. You never thought it was going to flood like it did. We were definitely wrong.
Hurricane Katrina is making its way across the Gulf of Mexico, gaining strength to a Category 4 hurricane. The eye of the storm is headed straight for Louisiana.
You hear about the storms all the time and stuff, and I've always had to leave. So at this time it was like, you know what, I'm a little older now. My mom can't really tell me to leave, so I'm just going to stay here with my dad and we'll just ride it out.
Emergency officials have called for immediate evacuation, but Luke and his father Rocky decide to ignore the warnings and stay in their family home.
We didn't think the storm was going to be that, you know, we've been through so many little storms for 2 days and 3 days, you know, we're the deep south. You know, at first we thought it was just a normal southern Louisiana storm that kind of blew. And then it got bad and we started seeing twisters and things we didn't see before. And the rain really came.
With pounding rain and ferocious winds, Katrina masses a 16-foot storm surge upon St. Bernard Parish. The pressure from the surge pushes the levee system to its brink.
I realized it was when it was getting bad, actually, when the water started coming up. You know, it was getting up 2 or 3 feet. It wasn't quite in the house. It was coming up on the sidewalk and the driveway.
The water is rising extremely fast. Luke and his father can't believe their eyes. Finally, the levee breaks. Water comes pouring into the Vaccarella's neighborhood, only 400 yards away.
I was in the house, I heard everything going on, and then I looked outside and the water was right up to the top of the brick. I said, it's time to get out of here.
The floodwaters rise several feet in a matter of minutes. The men must escape to higher ground or risk drowning in their own home.
So my dad, he's ready to go run in the attic and stuff, and I said, no way. I said, see you later. Took a chair and threw it out our bay window and busted out.
Luke breaks a window, and both men climb out onto the roof.
Luckily, because we would never survive inside that attic.
The water quickly rises nearly 15 feet.
Within 20 minutes, we were definitely trapped on the roof. Couldn't go nowhere. The wind was blowing so hard. The rain was hitting you. It felt like bee stings.
The men are helpless.
Going through my head at that time was like, just survive, like, right? Let's stay above the water.
Rocky's older brother, John Vaccarella, lives across the street in the only 2-story home on the block. He films his brother and nephew as they are pelted by 75-mile-an-hour winds.
15 minutes, we had 15 foot of water. It was just crazy. I mean, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
John knows he must get his brother and nephew to the safety of his 2-story home. The storm has let up for the moment, but it will return. Time is running out.
When the eye passed over, we knew that was our moment. We had to get to them, get them on our side.
Thinking quickly, John calls attention to a nearby boat.
Hey, swim to the boat.
John urges the men to swim to the safety of the boat.
One of you hold the rope, the other pull to the boat.
But the current is too strong.
It was so fast, we didn't have really time to think, just to react. You know, whatever you do, it's got to happen right then, or we would have been done.
Rocky and Luke have been trapped on the roof for hours. Without shelter, the force of nature is more than the men can bear.
Hold the rope, let him pull to the boat.
You really couldn't hear nothing. They were yelling from across the street, and you could tell we only like 30 feet away from each other. We couldn't hear a word they were saying.
One of you hold the rope, the other pull to the boat. Then the other one hold the rope at the boat and pull the other one.
That was just the main goal, to get my dad over there safe, get us all safe.
Luke has had enough. He jumps into the rushing water and swims to the nearby boat.
Right when I jumped in the water, big old wave just hits me right there, boom, and I'm like, oh, what did I get myself into now?
Go to the boat! Hey!
Luke makes it safely to the boat, but now it's time for his dad to take the plunge.
Once I got into that spot, and I was like, all right, now I have to get my dad over here, and so I threw him the rope. And I said, just tie it around you, like not telling him nothing, because he was kind of iffy about getting in the water. I just pulled him right in.
Yeah, he's so scared to get in the water, you know?
Luke pulls his dad to the boat. Finally, the men can take shelter from the driving rain.
Within 5 seconds, I had him already to the boat, pulling him in the boat. Your body just goes into like the survival mode.
Without keys to the boat, the men use life jackets to float to John's house.
The next day, you're just looking at nothing but rooftops. You can't get into your car and drive down the street to the store. You gotta get into a boat and travel there, or swim to somewhere.
Days go by without a glimmer of hope. With no food, electricity, or cell phones, the Vaccarellas are running on empty.
We had one of our nets, and we were trying to catch like crabs or anything that came by to eat. The scene was horrible. Never in my life have I ever seen anything so bad. Never, ever.
I mean, how do you prepare for like this? You can't prepare for it. I mean, you just gotta, when they tell you to go, you got to be smart enough to go. You know, you can't be a hero like we thought we would be. We thought we could save some. Who do we save?
Each day, the men hope for the best. It's day 5, and still no rescue.
And we knew nobody was coming to get us. You know, we didn't see no helicopters, no nothing. It was us and open land. That was it. So it was time to get out of here.
And as the days went on, it got worse. Because the water was getting stingier, there were dead animals, dead bodies.
Finally, the water levels recede, enough for the men to make it to safety.
I never did think nature could be that strong.
The Vaccarellas lost everything to Katrina. From here on out, they will take evacuation warnings more seriously.
If it's a Category 5 hurricane like Katrina and it's gonna come through, I'm definitely out of here. I'm not staying through that again.
The community of St. Bernard Parish will never be the same. Out of nearly 30,000 homes, less than a dozen escaped serious water damage.
It's just something that's gonna be scarred in my brain the rest of my life. We were the only town that had water from one end to the other. Every house was affected, every family was affected down here.
The devastation left from Hurricane Katrina is unprecedented. 1.2 million people are evacuated, and damages are an estimated $108 billion. The hurricane has left lasting memories.
Nobody knows what we went through. You could look at the news, read a book, look at pictures, but if you weren't here, you'll never know and never experience what we went through. Never.